Hey everyone, Chris from Things We Dig. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to talk about episodes 1 through 3 so far of Bad Batch Season 2. So I really enjoyed Bad Batch Season 1. To see the Clone Force 99 be reintroduced and have their own animated series was something I was really excited for. I really enjoyed the Clone Wars animated series. It's honestly some of my favorite Star Wars ever. And to see this story be expanded, to see Order 66 and just exactly what the clone troopers had to go through, when that happened. We saw a little bit of it in the end of the Clone Wars season 7 and then the first episode of Bad Batch season 1. And to see the crew back, they're a ragtag team getting in the mix of it, and they're currently on the run right now because they didn't want to be part of the empire. Removing their chips, of course, was a big no-no. So just seeing them on the run, on the move, get introduced to a few new characters, Omega being one of them, Sid, who they do side missions for. So season 2 just starts off with a bang. You see the crew on this island. They're, of course, on the mission for Sid, running from these big crabs to get this big payload, and just really enjoyable scene. I really also like the aspect that Omega is coming into her own. Season 1, of course, she was a stowaway from Camino. The crew was trying to take care of her, and she kind of was a little bit annoying, I would have to say, in, the first season. So time has passed between season 1 and season 2. She's learning a lot. You see Tech teaching her ways of learning Imperial ships, and it just seems like she's really being part of the crew now. She even has her bow from season 1, that Sigerian energy bow, which was really awesome to see her be precise with it and even help save the day. So really been enjoying season 2. The crew actually heads to Sereno to get another payload from Count Dooku's old castle, which was really a sight to see. You saw Count Dooku's castle and office from Clone Wars, so to be able to see it again, it's currently in shambles because of the war. Seeing the crew on Sereno, they get split up a bit. Just that whole sequence of Wrecker and Hunter, taking out the remaining clone troopers. And one thing I wanted to point out, which I found really fascinating, was they had their blasters set to stun. I was wondering, why would they do something like that? But of course, they're going after other clone troopers, and just the brotherhood of clone troopers is still instilled in them. It was only a couple months prior to this that these were their brothers. They were in war with them. So they're not trying to kill, they're setting phasers to stun. And then you see Echo, Tech, and Omega going after the payload, which was a really intense scene. They get in this cargo ship, and that cargo ship, they release it and then it's falling off the cliff. And just that whole aspect of, that happening was really exciting. And of course, Omega wants the payload because early in the episode, she overheard Hunter talking to Echo about kind of how their lives have changed since Omega joined the crew, and how she is potentially putting them more at risk being in the crew. So she's really trying to get this payload to be able to help the rest of the crew be set for the rest of their lives, and hopefully their lives could be better because of it. So as the episode progresses, they run into Romar, who is a native of Sereno, and he's giving them a little bit of insight of Count Dooku and just kind of how evil he was. And I really enjoyed kind of hearing more about Dooku because in the prequel movies, you don't really know a lot about him. And then the Clone Wars animated series really dove, into his backstory and really what a powerful Sith he was. So we move on to episode 3, and what an episode this was. We finally get to see Crosshair again. And Crosshair just being awesome, man. I mean, he's such a unique character, and his story arc has been one of my favorites. Season 1, you saw him not turn on the Empire, even though his brothers were telling him that, the Empire is not good. They're not doing best for the planet, but Crosshair is just so involved in the Empire and being a good soldier that he's going to do whatever he's asked. And you can tell in episode 3 that he's getting his limits pushed a bit by Rampart and just really taking advantage of him. And I really think there's going to be some implications from the Empire and the clone troopers. I think the clone troopers are finally realizing that the Empire is not made for good. And they, with working with the Republic, with working for the Jedi, yeah, they have the chips in their head, but they're still they still are able to think for themselves and kind of know what's right and wrong. And I really think we're going to see the tides turn of the Empire using stormtroopers rather than clone troopers. At the end of episode 2, you saw Rampart kill Wilco because he didn't want to falsify a report. So I really think that the clone troopers are going to find out somehow, and there's going to be some type of mutiny slash revolution for the clone troopers, and just really excited to see where this heads off. Season 2 has been just a blast. The first 3 episodes have been amazing. So yeah, season 3, if you haven't seen it, check it out on Disney Plus. And if you like this video, please hit subscribe. Until next time, later days, my friends.